Imagine standing in the middle of the desert, silence stretching in every direction, heat rising from endless sand, borders invisible to the eye, yet powerful enough to divide nations. Now imagine a single line of steel cutting through that silence, crossing frontiers, linking capitals, and stitching together six sovereign states into one continuous network. Not an oil pipeline, not a shipping lane, a railway. This is the vision behind the Gulf Railway megaproject, one of the most ambitious infrastructure undertakings ever conceived in the modern Middle East. A plan not measured in kilometers alone, but in decades of economic transformation. For generations, the Gulf's identity has been defined by energy. Oil fields fuel growth. Tankers connected markets. Highways carried commerce across vast distances. Pipelines determined the direction of wealth. But the 21st century demands something different. It demands integration. It demands diversification. It demands speed. And that is where this railway enters the story. The idea began quietly in the early 2000s when leaders within the Gulf Cooperation Council recognized a powerful reality. Physical connectivity is the backbone of economic power. Discussions evolved into formal agreements in 2009, setting the stage for an integrated rail network designed to unite Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Oman, Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain. 6 nations, one strategic corridor, a shared infrastructure platform capable of reshaping trade, mobility, and regional cooperation. This project was never just about trains. It was conceived as a long-term strategy to reduce dependence on oil, expand non-energy sectors, stimulate tourism, increase labor mobility, and deepen economic ties between neighboring states. It was about preparing the Gulf for a future where competitiveness depends on efficiency and coordination. The proposed network stretches approximately 2,177 kilometers. It begins in Kuwait, travels south into Saudi Arabia, the largest segment of the system, branches toward Bahrain via Planned Causeway, extends into Qatar, crosses the United Arab Emirates linking Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and beyond, and finally reaches Oman's southeastern coast, connecting key industrial and port cities. Passenger trains are expected to operate at speeds of up to 220 kilometers per hour, with certain corridors targeting even higher velocities. Freight trains would move at competitive speeds, offering a powerful alternative to heavy truck transport and expensive air cargo. By 2045, projections suggest the railway could carry millions of passengers annually and transport tens of millions of tons of freight across the region. That scale is transformative. Lower transportation costs, shorter delivery times, stronger supply chains, increased intra-GCC trade. The Gulf states are among the world's largest exporters of oil, petrochemicals, and industrial products. Efficient logistics are not optional, they are essential. A unified rail system could amplify global competitiveness while opening new pathways for manufacturing, construction, and tourism. But beyond the spreadsheets and projections lies something even more powerful: human connectivity. Imagine boarding a train in Kuwait City and traveling seamlessly across borders, across deserts, skylines, and coastlines, without the delays and complexities that once defined regional movement. Business leaders attending meetings across countries in a single day. Families exploring neighboring cultures by rail. Tourists experiencing a multi-country journey with unprecedented ease. Infrastructure shapes behavior. When airports expand, global networks grow stronger. When highways extend, cities expand outward. When railways connect nations, cooperation becomes practical instead of symbolic. Yet for all its promise, the Gulf Railway has not advanced without friction. Coordinating 6 sovereign states is no simple task. Each country is responsible for constructing the segment within its territory. That means progress has unfolded unevenly, influenced by national budgets, shifting priorities, and political considerations. Technical alignment adds another layer of complexity. Track gauge standards, customs procedures, immigration systems, safety regulations. Every detail must be harmonized for trains to glide across borders without interruption. A railway cannot function as a single network if its rules remain fragmented. Financing presents perhaps the greatest challenge of all. With estimated costs reaching into the hundreds of billions of dollars, the project demands sustained commitment. Oil price volatility and global economic fluctuations have required governments to reassess timelines and funding structures. Public investment alone may not be sufficient. Increasingly, public-private partnerships are viewed as essential to move forward. But private capital demands certainty, regulatory clarity, commercial viability, long-term assurances. Building investor confidence is as crucial as laying track. Despite these obstacles, progress is real. The United Arab Emirates has emerged as a regional leader through its Etihad rail development, connecting industrial zones and expanding toward international borders. Freight operations are already underway, with passenger services expected to follow. Saudi Arabia continues expanding its domestic rail infrastructure, including major high-speed lines that strengthen its position as a central hub within the future Gulf network. As the largest GCC nation geographically, it plays a pivotal role in linking east to west and north to south. Oman has signed key agreements to develop its segment, focusing on connections to vital port cities that enhance maritime trade integration. Bahrain's participation is closely tied to the proposed King Hamad Causeway, a critical cross-border link. Kuwait and Qatar have experienced slower progress, influenced by political events and shifting national priorities. The 2017 Gulf diplomatic crisis temporarily slowed regional coordination, but reconciliation has reopened dialogue. In late 2024, GCC leadership reaffirmed collective commitment to the railway, signaling that the project remains strategically significant. Still, time moves forward. Megaprojects rarely fail dramatically. They stall quietly if momentum fades. Deadlines shift. Costs rise. Attention drifts elsewhere. And yet, the Gulf Railway persists. Behind the scenes, committees refine cross-border frameworks. Engineers conduct surveys across unforgiving terrain. Negotiations continue to align regulatory systems. The foundation, both political and physical, is steadily evolving. There's a deeper strategic urgency driving this effort. Global trade corridors are shifting. Supply chains are becoming more regionalized. Competition between economic blocs is intensifying. Nations that move faster, connect smarter, and reduce friction will define the next era of global commerce. A unified rail network offers flow. Flow of goods across industrial hubs. Flow of capital through integrated markets. Flow of people between economic centers. Flow is resilience. Rail transport reduces congestion, lowers emissions compared to road freight, and provides logistical redundancy during crises. In an era defined by uncertainty, redundancy is strength. There is also a generational dimension to this vision. The architects of the project saw diversification as necessity. The younger generation sees mobility as opportunity. A region where careers are not limited by geography, where collaboration happens across borders without barriers, where integration becomes lived reality. Imagine industrial clusters forming around new rail stations, logistics hubs expanding near ports, tourism circuits linking ancient heritage sites with futuristic skylines, entire economic ecosystems rising along the tracks. And if one day a passenger boards a train in Kuwait and steps off in Muscat without boarding a plane, that journey will symbolize more than convenience. It will represent a region that chose connection over separation. Of course, the final chapter remains unwritten. Construction timelines will be tested. Financing structures will evolve. Political coordination will demand patience. Every multinational infrastructure project faces moments of doubt. But transformative infrastructure is never built in straight lines. It advances in phases. It recalibrates. It adapts to reality. What determines success is not perfection, but persistence. If the Gulf nations maintain alignment, harmonize regulations, secure financing, and continue building domestic segments, the network will eventually converge, section by section, kilometer by kilometer. And when the first uninterrupted train crosses all 6 nations without stopping at bureaucratic barriers, it will not merely mark a transportation milestone. It will mark a declaration that unity in the Gulf was not just spoken in conferences, it was engineered into existence. The Gulf Railway is more than a megaproject. It is a long-term statement about identity in a post-oil world, about competitiveness in a shifting global economy, about resilience through cooperation, about turning ambition into infrastructure. The desert once symbolized distance. One day, it may symbolize connection. The steel has not yet fully linked the region, but the vision remains alive. And, if completed, this railway will not simply carry passengers and freight. It will carry the future of Gulf integration, forward, together, and at full speed.